Alright, hi everybody, it's Dragyn here with another reading video. I like doing these, so I'm gonna keep on doing it, and if you take notice, am grateful, really grateful. So, let's begin. I'm going to turn down the music just a little smidge. There we go. Alright, so for today, we are going to read an article called People Confess Why They Quit a Job the Very Same Day They Were Hired. Some of these are a little cringe. Some of these are kind of funny. Some of them are maybe like a little dark funny. But we're going to take a look at it and enjoy. So just get comfy and listen to some stories about quitting jobs the very first day they start. Alright. So, bad jobs are essential to growing as a person, right there next to your first heartbreak or having a teacher who won't listen to you. It happens to everyone, so don't feel bad when you start working only to realize this job is awful and you need to get the heck out. Everyone's limit may be different, but the reaction is the same. I quit. Okay? So here we go. Not quite the holy ground is our first story. When I was 14, I got a job at one of the few fast food places in town that hired kids under 16. I went to orientation where they explained the positions different age groups could fill. My job would be to take people's orders out to their cars. I wasn't allowed to touch money or work the fryer. I showed up on the first day and was told my whole shift would be on the fryer. I told them I was 14 and not allowed to. Plus, I hadn't been trained on it. The guy basically said tough shit and tried to hand me a hairnet. I just left. That's fair, because I think you would get into trouble if you were to do it, and then, yeah, if a manager walked in, then you'd kind of be like, oops. So, yeah, fair. Alright, next story. Companies, let's up our production cost. Come on now. Oh dear. So this was about 15 years ago. I got hired to be a host at IHOP and went in for my first day of training. It sucked so bad I was so bored watching all of their cheesy videos. On a break, Panera called me and asked me for an interview, so I left and went there immediately, and I worked there for 5 years. Oh my god, I love that. I really love that, actually. Just like, oh my god, all these dumb videos, not worth it. And then Panera, and then ends up being like there for 5 years. That's pretty amazing. Coffee is kind of a breakfast staple. That's the name of this next story. Okay, so I got hired as the breakfast girl at a historic hotel in my town. Now, I don't know if this was due to management or laziness or what. It in the kitchen where I was to prepare breakfast was repulsive. Everything was old, they saved batter for pastries for weeks, eggs were damn near spoiled, and they kind of just threw me into it with no warning at all as to what they wanted from me. They didn't even really show me where the coffee was. I quit at the end of the first shift. Oof. Yeah, kind of feeling in a position where it was left a disaster is probably one of the worst experiences you could ever feel. I know I've had jobs where I'll walk in and, expect the day people or like the evening people to kind of have things set up, and then nothing would be set up and you're left scrambling the whole day. I've been there. It's not fun. Next story. No pay is worth no training. Okay. So, Zaxby's when I was 18. Fuck that place. Okay, good start. Sorry, Zaxby's. I don't know what you are, but I'm sorry, maybe. It was my first job. I hadn't had any before because of my anxiety problems. The first red flag was when they asked me to come in the same day I was interviewed. I worked a 6-hour shift, but only about an hour and a half of it was me being trained. I was only taught how to bread and fry chicken and make grilled cheeses. Then they threw me in the dish pit for 4.5 hours. No one really came back there to check on me. The dishes kept piling up faster than I can clean them, and it made me really anxious. I called and quit the next day. They even offered to up my pay, but I said no, it wasn't for me. Yeah, that's not fun. kind of a similar situation. I had like a bit of a tour and a walk around for my orientation at a new place recently, and I got trained for daytime, but me and the other guy that got hired were trained for overnight, or supposed to be trained for overnights. So they kind of threw us into the daytime, and this is how we all do it for daytime. We both walked into our first overnight shift, and it was completely different, and we didn't have anywhere to train us. There are no managers overnight, so we just kind of got thrown into it. And we're like, what do you mean we're doing this wrong? And then they're like, yeah, this is how we do it overnight, and this is how we organize things in overnight. And it took us forever to kind of get our brains wrapped around it, because him and I spent most of our time writing things down prepared to what the manager told us the day before. Kind of crazy. So I sympathize with the no training thing, because it takes a while for you to learn something if you're not properly trained. Next story. This sounds truly awful. Yikes, not a good sign. I was 17. It was for a small restaurant in a central area of my city where there were a lot of tourists. I had to stand on a busy street handing out flyers and trying to convince people to come eat at the restaurant, even at hours where literally nobody would want to go to a restaurant. We got paid like an extra 50 cents for one person that we brought, and in the entire day, I only managed to get one group of 4 to come for lunch. I got there at 8 a.m., and sometime in the afternoon I was told that I could either leave at 4 p.m. and earn a ridiculous sum, or stay until 8 p.m. and earn a ridiculous sum plus a few extra euros. We're talking something like 5 euros for 8 hours of working on my feet in the summer heat, being either ignored or insulted by the people that I had to stop. I was shy as hell, and going up to strangers like that was awful. Oh, and at one point the owner passed by in a motorcycle and yelled at me because I wasn't working. Which is a lie, because I was taking a minute to recover from the heat. I left shortly after because I couldn't take it anymore. I was bored as hell, and people were more annoyed than interested by me. I went home and called them to quit. I also googled the restaurant and found reviews complaining about the food and prices, all basically saying that it was a tourist scam. I kind of felt bad for the nice Spanish family that I had convinced to go and eat there. Oh, and they didn't even pay me. I was told that I'd only get paid for after working there for a week, and I had no intention of ever going back, so I was like, fuck it, they can keep their small change. That is pathetic. 5 euros for 8 hours of working. That is awful. Awful, awful. A very good call to quit. And next story, falling nails. That sounds dangerous? Oh no, okay. So I was retrieving used formwork. 10 guys were throwing 20-kilogram pieces of nail-infested timber down from 5 floors up. My job was to dodge the falling bits of timber and avoid stepping on nails while I did it for 10 hours a day. Fuck that. No first aid guy on site. Got a nail through each of my foot on the first day, which I disinfected, bandaged, and went back to work. That is awful. Such a dangerous and high-risk job. No first aid. And having to just do it anyway for 10 hours. Oh my gosh. That is not okay. Not okay at all. Deathly peanuts. So I was 18, and I was a waitress for a fancy retirement home where they made meals to order for the restaurants who all ate in a communal facility. Somehow we were responsible for knowing a person's dietary restrictions, but there was no list of people with dietary restrictions as its protected health info. We were just supposed to figure it out. For example, if Grandma was allergic to peanuts, forgot and ordered a dish with peanuts, we were held responsible. What? What? The men keep smacking my butt with their napkins and making inappropriate comments, which was fine with management because they were old and senile. My first shift was supposed to be covering breakfast lunch for 8 hours, but because so many people quit mid-shift, it became a mandated double. I lasted 1 day. Of the 15 people I trained with, only 1 made it in 2 weeks. Oh, wow. That is really stressful. Not having access to that. Like, even I've worked in a kitchen at schools and stuff like that, and they've got like a little at the one school I worked at, they had like a little folder that was like hidden, like all the information was covered, and you just had to go into the book and open it to find all the dietary things. So the fact that they couldn't even do that is really bad. Especially also the butt smacking. Don't do that. I don't care how old you are. Don't do it. Next story. Check the eyes. Away at college, needed a job, so I got hired on at a national pizza chain with a table involved. Anyway, show up the first day and quickly noticed every single person working there is tweaking. Everyone was. No way was I going to deal with a bunch of tweakers and quit after my first shift. Manager asked why, and I told him because everyone here is tweaking. His response, how did you know? Maybe it was that, I don't know, the dilated eyes, the fact that everyone here is sweating like it's 113 degrees out, yet I need a long sleeve shirt to stay warm. Yeah, wow. I like how the manager's like, what? No, I'm innocent. We don't do that here. Yeah, okay. Next story. I don't want to be misled. Fair. As a teen, I applied for a standard teenage summer job picking berries on a farm. Thought it'd be with other people, but turns out I was the only one hired, and half of the first 12-hour day was also construction helping the farm renovate their barn. Not worth it for minimum wage. Oh my god. 12-hour shift, minimum wage. Not only are you picking berries and the only one hired, you also had to do construction work on top of that. That's, no. Go away. Go away. Okay. Next story is called Nubs. Just Nubs. Okay. Got a job at a sawmill right out of high school. It was probably opened in the 40s, dangerous as hell. First day, one of the guys that worked there was bragging about how good the owner was to work for, held up his two-fingered hand, touched the two nubs one at a time, and said, I got $500 each when that happened. About an hour in, I went to my car under the auspices of grabbing my thermos, left and never went back. What? Oh my god. So he got $500 each for losing fingers on his hand. That's really not a good sign that you should stay there. A really bad sign. Okay, our next story. Kids see through your lies pretty quickly. Yes, they do. So I was a child play worker. I mean, I don't like kids and I never plan on having any, but how hard can be playing for 7 hours be? I was a fool to think children were easy. Yeah, no, I can't fake enthusiasm or run around a table for 2 hours, or made a kid eat their lunch, which consists entirely of chocolate? What? Or stop a child from biting my ankle. I couldn't do it. I don't like kids. You know, that's fair. Working with kids is not for everyone. Alright guys, this is going to be our last story. This is a little shorter video, so let's see what this one is called. Oh, a government service that was ill-maintained? You don't say. Appreciate the sarcasm. Now let's dive into it. It is a little bit of a longer story, so sit tight and enjoy. So I have two. The first was at a pisenberry picking place where you got paid per container, $7 for 81 hours of work. Yikes. That doesn't sound like a lot, hey? So, second was a place that tried to find employment for disabled people. If you were considered unemployable by their standards, they would employ you in sheltered employment, which was actually factory work. Some sold packaging to businesses. The area I was in refurbished headphones for a large airline for in-flight entertainment. This was all factory work, and they had about 20 to 30 working on these headphones. They paid $50 New Zealand dollar, so around 35 US dollars a week for 40 hours of work. This worked out to be about $1.11 per hour. They also lied to the disabled people, claiming that $40 a week was all they could have before it affected their benefit entitlement. This is a lie because you can earn up to $100 before tax. Then they take 30 cents to each dollar earned over that. So yeah, told them where to shove that. This service was also funded by the government. Are you kidding? Whoa, that is BS. Oh my god. So yeah, like 35 US a week. Divide by what? You have to do it by day. So 35 divided by 5, that is, I should be able to do math, 7, right? So $7 per day. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Oh, I just cringed as soon as I realized that I had to divide that by like 8. Oh, that is awful. And it's for like unemployment and like disabled people. Like that just devalues them completely. That is crazy. Oh, sorry, I do have 2 more short stories, so I'm gonna sneak those in real quick. This one's called Seriously Guys, Train Your New Employees, It's Not That Hard. Yo, I feel this. Cumberland Farms, a Northeast convenience store gas station chain. They trained me on everything but how to do anything having to do with lotto, and the manager kept leaving and said, "You'll be fine." I was 17 and they left me alone in the store, only having started 2 hours before. I felt like I knew nothing, so of course you know what's next? Every customer wants to buy lottery tickets. When I took my break, I got in my car and left. Oh, that sucks. Next quick little short story. Cotton Puff Joe. Being a weaver at an old textile mill using old machines. My main function was to tie knots in the threads if they broke and start the machine back up. I was too tall for the machine and my back was killing me after day 1. I wouldn't have stayed anyway. Too repetitive and mind-numbing. People were walking around with cotton puffs stuck in their hair. Oh. But yeah, being a weaver and doing that kind of like mundane task and like very repetitive would be awful. You're like, yeah, this is kind of related to my like repertoire of skills, but I've got more skills than just this boring mundane work. So yeah, well done. Now there are a few other stories, but I'm going to try to cut these videos a little shorter. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you want to read the rest, I will post the link in the description below. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I will see you guys in whatever video I post next. So see you later. Bye.